there, my name is Jez. I am the Adult and Teen Programming Coordinator at the library, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a DIY custom dry erase board. Now the one I'm going to show you how to make today is a family planner. You can write down different things that everyone is doing during the week to keep track of everyone's schedules, but you can make all kinds of different designs for this. I also have one for recipes or meal planning that I can hang up in my kitchen and write things down so I'm not constantly pulling up an article or flipping through my cookbook. I also have some that I use every day in the library at my desk for organization and keeping track of my schedule. And you can also use paint strips to make a calendar that you can change every month with just the dry erase. So let me show you how to make this one today and then have some fun with it. Create different designs and figure out what works for you, and feel free to change it up whenever you want. Some supplies that you're going to want for this activity are an empty picture frame with glass. This is from the dollar store, very easy to find, very affordable. Got some scrapbook paper or cardstock or construction paper. Need your scissors, and then some kind of adhesive, either tape or glue, whichever is your preference. And then there are some extras that you can add for some fun effects, some nice additions. We've got some stickers or decorative washi tapes or some fun shaped scissors as well. To start, we're going to take our picture frame and we're going to remove the backing, which will leave you with the blank frame, and we're going to set the glass part aside. So we have the construction board backing or whatever kind of backing you have in your frame, and we're going to use this as a size guide so we know what will fit inside the frame. Now remember, your frame may overlap a little bit, so make sure you leave a ½ inch or so along the edges that you don't mind being covered up by the frame. You're going to start with your background, whatever piece of scrapbook paper, construction paper that you want to use. Now notice I'm using scrapbook paper and it does not entirely fit the frame, so we're going to need to get a little bit creative here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this to the correct size. It is overlapping on the bottom. Okay, so now my piece of paper roughly matches the width of the frame, and there's a little bit over here at the bottom that is not being covered. But we're going to start with this as our base. And you can attach things to the cardboard. I prefer to leave them off so that I can switch out designs as I want, or I can change things around. So I'm going to stick with just my scrapbook paper base for now. But I'm going to keep the cardboard here so that I have a size guide. So let's start by covering up the bottom here before we get to any kind of decorations. I've decided to have a little bit more of a neutral background for the bottom, so I'm just using some white cardstock, and I'm going to overlap it a little bit with the existing paper because I'm going to attach them together and I don't want any space between them. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out real quick. Okay, so attach these together. I'm going to flip over my base, got a different pattern on the back here, and I'm going to line up my cardstock with the bottom of the frame so that between the two of them I have covered the whole backing of the frame. And then you want to attach these together. I'm just going to use tape. It's going to be on the back so you won't see anything, so tape is just easiest for me. And then when I flip it back over, we have both pieces of paper and the whole backing is covered. So now we can do some of the fun decoration or organizational things. Now before you get too far into your project, you want to think about, what do you want this erase board for? Do you want it to help you organize things at work? Do you want it for a meal planner or for some recipes? Do you want it for a calendar or a schedule of what's happening in your family. And I've decided to use it as just a general message board for a busy family, so you can see everyone's schedule and where they'll be. Now, because the bottom here doesn't match the rest, I thought I would have something different at the bottom than the planner I plan on using at the top. So I'm going to put a small meal planner at the bottom. Now, some of the scrapbooking supplies that I have came with stickers of the days of the week. So I'm going to lay those out along the bottom and we'll get our little meal planner. Okay, so we have part of this at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create different boxes for members of the family or different kinds of notes that you may want to add. You again can use some scrapbook paper. Cardstock would work really well for this, especially because you can have a clearer background to write on as opposed to your little bit busier background. You could even lay it out just like this, where you have the scrapbook paper as your border and you have a nice open space throughout the whole part. But I want to have mine a little bit more modular, give each person their own space. I'm going to start by cutting out some squares from my scrapbook paper. So I'm going to make 5 different boxes for members of the family. And I like to have a little bit of variety, so I'm going to make some of them vertical and some of them horizontal. Now, I haven't measured mine out or used rulers, but you are definitely welcome to do so if you want it to be exact. But then you want to think about what kind of placement you want to use on your board. So I could have these 3 above the section with 2 of the horizontal ones, or I could swap those. And I think I'm going to put the horizontal ones on top because I have such a wide base on here and I want to split that up a little bit. So let's switch those. Now I recommend placing everything on your board before you tape them down so that you can move things around if necessary, figure out what order you want things in. So I'm doing a very basic design here and just making boxes for the members of the family, but you can get very intricate. There's all kinds of great scrapbooking out there. You can draw your own designs. You can do whatever you want. Now I also have some other scrapbooking materials on hand that came with the paper. Because I'm making a schedule for a family, I liked this piece about how we spend our time, but you can see it's a little bit too large for that space. I could overlap my boxes a little bit, but because this is blank up here, I'm just going to cut off the excess. Now that's going to fit a little bit better up in that top corner. I have an empty space up here. I can put in some decorations. I've got some other pieces that I could put there and they could overlap. Because I haven't taped anything down yet, I can also move around my squares and see if I like a different design better. So I'm going to take one of my smaller vertical ones and I'll put it up here, and it fits pretty nicely in that space. And I think I'm going to make a row of boxes down the side rather than going across like I was before. And then I'm going to make these 2 vertical. Line up. So now I do still have an empty space. I have an empty space down here at the bottom, but I'm going to use that for some decoration. I could have put some at the top, but I like to separate mine a little bit, just have it a little bit more spread out. And I'm going to leave the decoration for the end. I'm going to get down my main pieces. So I could just use regular tape, put it on the back and stick these down. Also have the option to use some washi tape to hold it in place, get a little bit more decorative designs. I'm actually going to do both. I'm going to put down the regular tape first. I'm just going to roll it up and down. I'm going to do that just to hold things in place better. And then I'll go over it with the washi tape. And then just for some extra flair, I'm going to put some washi tape in here. I've got this nice reflective gold. So I'm going to go around the edges of each of those boxes and use this as a border. Okay, so now I've got all my borders on my boxes here. What I could do is I could use my markers and put everyone's names at the top here. Something to keep in mind when making one of these boards is they're very easy to change. It's just, some paper in a picture frame. So if you want to switch it out for different seasons or holidays, you can have different backgrounds or things that you're tracking on here. Anything that is going to be a little bit more temporary, I would suggest just drawing on the dry erase part, which we'll get into. But anything that you want to have on here all the time, I would recommend putting on your base here. You can draw it on there, you can write it on there, you can use stickers, anything you want to do. So I'm going to leave mine just like this, and I'm going to put my names on the dry erase part. So I'm just going to focus on finishing my background. I've got this empty space here, which I could leave empty, but I think I'm going to put in some stickers. Okay, now that we have our finished background, we're going to go ahead and put it in our frame so we can start using it as a dry erase board. So we're going to take our frame and you're going to flip your design upside down so that the part you want facing out is against the glass. And put the backing on the frame again. Just secure it in place with all these little tabs or however your frame is set up. Then flip it over and we have our completed custom dry erase board. Now that we have this, we can use our dry erase markers however we want, and you can use these boxes. And let's go ahead and put some names on here for the family members, and then you can just use your markers to add anything you want. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make today's dry erase board. We'd love to see what you make with it. You can make any kind of design, whatever works for your family. It's completely custom. So leave us a comment on our YouTube or our Facebook, or tag us on any social media at Ask Elmhurst. Have a great day.